Welcome to a quick tutorial on getting started in Cinema 4D. So I have just opened Cinema 4D. I am using R16 and I just thought I'd make this because I think I've seen a lot of people out there that might have some more basic questions on getting started and how to use the tools. So the first thing you want to do when you come into Cinema 4D is look at your project settings, which they should appear down here. But those can also be accessed up here in render settings, in your output and your options and your save. So the first thing you want to do is, if this is going to be for an HD video, you're going to want to change your aspect ratio here to 1920 by 1080. We're going to leave the resolution as is. And if you're going to make an animation, you're going to want to make sure that your frame range is set to all frames. By default, our frames are set to a maximum of 90 frames. If you want to expand that, you can just simply click on the up arrow and add as many frames as you want, or you can type it in. Let's say we want to go 180, so 6 seconds of 30 frames per second video. And then I can drag this toolbar out to see all of my frames in plain view. Now, getting started. Up here, we're going to add a cube object, and as soon as you see it's in the viewport here, you'll see these two yellow dots, which can be used to expand the size of the object on those axes. We can then also move it by clicking one of the arrows, and by hitting T on our keyboard, we can then get a resize tool here, the ability to resize this cube. But it'll be done equally in all directions. So hitting E again will bring back those arrows. And now, most importantly, moving around the viewport, you're going to need to know some hotkeys. So if we hold down the number 3, and now I click and I move in any direction, I'm going to rotate around whatever object I've clicked on. So if I click on this corner and hold 3, I'm going to rotate around that corner. And you'll see the little crosshairs there. If I hit the number 2, now when I drag left to right, I'm going to zoom. And if I hold down the number 1, this is like your hand tool. You're going to pan up and you're going to pan down. Okay? So setting up a simple animation here. I have my cube. I have my object data. I have my basic information here. And I have my coordinates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the cube over here. You'll notice that the X coordinates are changing in that coordinate field. When I get here, I'm going to hold down Alt and click, and that's going to set a keyframe right over here. I'm then going to go to the 180th frame. I'm going to move my cube, and you'll see that it left behind that cube point. I'm going to hold down Alt, click again. Now we have created a very simple animation in Cinema 4D. About as basic as you could possibly create. Okay? So that if we wanted to render that out for some odd reason, we're going to go up here, and in our output we've got our size all set up. We're going to save this now as an animation, so I'm going to go QuickTime Movie. I'm going to call this just tutorial. And I'm just going to save it to my desktop. Oops, Documents works fine too, but let's just do desktop for the sake of doing what I said. And then I'm going to leave everything else the same. We won't get into that this tutorial. And now clicking this middle button, the Render to Picture Viewer, one time, will begin my export. And I can change the size of my field, and I can watch this thing happen on the fly. And sure enough, my animation is very slowly moving from left to right, just as we had set it up. And as we play it forward, we'll watch this thing. Eventually it will finish, and you will have a movie on your desktop showing this animation. So this has just been a basic tutorial on showing you how to get set up in Cinema 4D. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will have part 2 coming up next.